Hello, Weichert Realtors, and welcome to the Buyer Consultation Dialogue. Before we get into the actual presentation itself, I want to share a philosophy with you that I think is really important with regard to this tool. And that is, little things can and almost always do make a really big difference. Let me give you a quick example. Sometimes if you ask somebody if they're qualified for a certain level of mortgage, they might get offended. But if you ask them this question, by the way, have you spoken with a mortgage professional so that you're aware of what your buying power is in today's rapidly changing market? They'll really appreciate that and usually want to talk to your mortgage professional. Little things can and almost always do make a big difference. And I'm going to be sharing with you some little things that make a big difference when you're delivering the Buyer Consultation Dialogue. I also want to tell you that there are 3 pages in the presentation that I think are the 3 most important in the presentation. And there are pages number 5, number 10, and number 11. I'll explain why when we get there. Next question. Where's the best place to meet your buyer for the very first time face-to-face? I hope you said the office, because the office is the best place. Second best place is a neutral location, maybe close to the property that you're going to be showing or that they initially called about. The worst place you can meet somebody for the very first time, where do you think that might be? Exactly, the actual property itself. And there are lots of reasons for that, including sometimes they'll drive by, see the house, and not even stop and just keep on going. But why should we use the buyer consultation presentation at all when they just want to see the property and they're anxious and they're hot and they're ready to go? Well, there are 4 very, very important reasons. Number 1, it gives you an opportunity to explain what your job is as a real estate professional. Unfortunately, most buyers, even those that have bought and sold before, think that all realtors do is drive around town in their fancy luxury cars, snoop around in other people's closets, and get paid millions of dollars for doing it. The other reason that you want to use the buyer consultation presentation is it gives you an opportunity to create loyalty and, most important, protect your commission. Every realtor who's been in business for any number of years and done any amount of business has had this happen to them. They show properties to a couple. One weekend they don't find what the couple's looking for. Another weekend they show properties. They might not have talked to them in a couple of weeks, and they call them to schedule another appointment, and the buyer says to them, or the prospective buyer says to them, "Oh, Mary, we've been meaning to call you. You're going to be so happy for us. We were on our way home from church, and guess what we saw? A for sale by owner that was just perfect. And you're really not as happy as Mary thinks that you're going to be." Here's the third reason. You want to get them ready to buy the house that they want to buy when they find the house, okay? You want to get them ready. Again, every realtor that's been in business for a period of time has had this happen to them, is they show lots of houses, they find a house, the buyer likes the house, they get ready to present an offer, and all of a sudden the buyer wants to make a lowball offer. You know that it's not going to be accepted because you're confident that this property is going to probably sell for list price or even more, but yet they insist on making a lowball offer. And so we have a strategy to reduce the likelihood of that happening. And the fourth reason is using the buyer consultation presentation shortens the process. You can close more sales in less time. So let's talk about the meeting at the office. You're in the office, the receptionist tells you your client has arrived, and you meet him at the front door, and this is your dialogue. "Hi, thanks for coming in. Listen, I've scheduled some great properties for us to inspect today, but before we go, I'd like to spend just a few minutes to give you an update on the market so you know what to expect. Would that be okay?" Now, asking this question, would that be okay, is a very important part of this dialogue, because one of the things that we know about psychology is that when we ask for permission and permission is granted, the customer is much more likely to pay attention to what we're going to tell them and be honest and forthright in answering our questions. The other thing is, by giving them a benefit, want to spend a few minutes to give you an update on the market so you know what to expect, they're likely to say yes. Now, here's one other thing when you get to the first page of the presentation. You don't have to read every word on the page. I find this is one of the reasons that agents are sometimes reticent to use a prepared presentation, is they feel like they have to read everything to the customer and it comes across sounding canned or stilted or whatever. And so first page, you open it up and all you have to say is, these are some of the items that we'll be reviewing today. And then you turn to page 3. Page 3 is, why are you making this move to begin with? Now, when you scheduled the appointment, hopefully you asked some questions and made note of their answers. When we talk to people on the phone or meet people on the phone for the very first time, one of the ways that we build rapport with people is by demonstrating to them that what's important to them is also important to us. We've all heard that old adage, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the best way to demonstrate that you care is by asking what's important to them and then making note of that. So you might say something like, when we talked, I know you told me one of the reasons that you were making this move is because you wanted to be in this particular school district. Are there any other reasons for this particular move? And you make note of any answers that they give you. And then you go to page 4. Page 4 is more about the property that they're looking for. Now, often, the reason that we got an appointment is because they reached out to us about a particular property, whether they went online and found the property, whether they saw a sign and found the property, or maybe even saw some sort of an advertisement that we were running and reached out to us about the property. And one of the questions that we want you to always ask is, what did you like about this property? Now, there are a couple of reasons that we do that. One is because sometimes the property that they contact us about has already been sold or maybe even withdrawn from the market. A second reason, though, is back to that showing them that we care and asking, what did you like about this house? Well, you like the fact that it's got a 2-car garage. Anything else? You like the fact that it has a big screened back porch with a swimming pool. Anything else? And so you want to, again, tell them that you've listened and that you've made note of that and ask them if there's anything else that's important. Another good thing to do at this particular point of the presentation is when you're repeating that back and you say what else is important, is to ask these questions. How long have you been looking? How many homes have you seen? Did you see any that you like? Why didn't you buy one of them? If they tell you, well, we've looked at 127 homes and we've been looking for 6 months, and the reason we didn't buy any one of them is because we're looking for the absolute perfect needle in a haystack home, then you might want to introduce them to another real estate company. It will be better for them to waste their time rather than yours. Page 5. I told you there are 3 pages that are 3 most important pages. This is one of those pages. And all you have to do for dialogue on this is tell me what you've heard about real estate here in whatever your market is. Tell me what you've heard about real estate here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tell me what you've heard about real estate here in Phoenix, Arizona, or wherever. And you ask that question with a quizzical look on your face so that they can unpack the things that they've heard and they think they know about your market. The reason this is important is almost everybody knows somebody who thinks that they're an expert on real estate and has probably been telling them all kinds of things. Better to know what you're dealing with up front, and this is the page where you find that out. And then once they've told you all of that, you say some of that is accurate, some of it has changed, and we'll talk more about that as we go through our discussion. Page 6. Your timing is excellent. Interest rates are about as low as they've ever been, but are expected to move up along with the price of homes in our market. Page 7. Right now, we're in what we call the buying zone. That's good prices still, combined with record low interest rates, which means we still have time to find you a great home at a great price and at a great interest rate. Now, one of the things some of my realtor friends ask me is, our market is not like that. It's not great prices on houses because house prices are the highest they've ever been in my market. So if this page doesn't work for you, feel free to take it out. This is how you customize your presentation to your marketplace. Page number 8. Unless you are an economist or an engineer, I probably wouldn't use this page. Only because while it's got great information, It's getting a little too deep in the weeds, and sometimes that can get in the way of you having a smooth dialogue with your customer and preparing them to buy. Page number 9. I think this is a great page because it allows you to explain why today is the best time to buy and they should not procrastinate. And here's your dialogue. This is important and shows you why you don't want to wait. Because even if prices didn't go up, which is unlikely, with interest rates going up, your monthly payment would go up if you waited. And if prices and rates continue to go up, which is likely, then your monthly payment could go way up. And we certainly don't want that to happen, do we? And just like I'm doing right now, when you ask that question, you always want to shake your head, no, so that you can get the customer to mirror what you're telling them and feel it, that they don't want to wait until prices and interest rates go up. Page number 10. This is what I consider to be the single most important page in the entire presentation. Before you deliver your buyer consultation presentation, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to your multiple listing service and I want you to find 7 or 8 recently sold properties. Properties that sold at or above list price and that sold in a very short period of time. 30 days or less, at or above list price, or very, very close to list price. In most markets, we can find properties that sold above list price in even a couple of weeks. We're going to print those. We're going to have 7 or 8 examples. You're going to take a big red Sharpie and circle the price, asking price, circle the sold price, and also the number of days on the market before it went under contract. And when you're with the customer, here's what you're going to say. One of the most important things that you need to know is that houses that are priced right, the best houses, are selling fast. Now, who doesn't want to buy one of the houses that's priced right and is one of the best houses? So again, the dialogue. One of the most important things you need to know is that houses that are priced right, the best houses, are selling fast. Let me show you what I mean. And you take out your examples that you printed from the multiple listing and you say, here's a property that came on the market, the asking price was $385,000 and it sold for $405,000 in only 27 days. Here's another property that came on the market for $198,000 and it sold for $212,000 in less than 2 weeks. And here's another, and here's another. And you go through your stack of comparable sales in all different prices, proving to them that houses that are priced right, the best houses, are still selling fast in today's market. This is to prevent buyers from wanting to make those lowball offers. And so once you've done that, the dialogue that you want to use is this. Say, by the way, the reason I'm showing you this is because I'm confident that we're going to be able to find you a great home. What we don't want to happen, as a matter of fact, it would be real estate malpractice on my part, would be for us to do all of this work together to find just the right home, maybe even your dream home, only to have you lose it because you thought you had all the time in the world. So here's what we're going to do. When we find the right one, and by the way, you'll know when we walk in that house that's just the right one for you and your family, you'll know. We're going to come back to the office, do our research to make sure that it is priced right, and then get our paperwork done to make sure we don't lose the one that you like best. Make sense? And when you ask this question, you shake your head up and down just like I am so you can get the customer to mirror your response, your reaction, and also to get the customer to feel that that's what they need to do when they find that right house. Page 11 in the presentation. Again, this is the third most important page in the presentation. And the reason this page is important is because it allows you to describe your job as a realtor. Again, unfortunately, most buyers have no clue as to all of the things that we do to help someone successfully find a home, negotiate a purchase, get a mortgage, get moved, and all of those other things. So we need to demonstrate to them all the things that go into it. And what we're going to do here is let them know that it's important that they know this because in our business, the only way we get paid is if we're successful in making them happy, finding the right home. So you talk about all of these things. And then after you've gone through the steps, what you want to say to the buyer is this. As you can see from this home buying map, there's a lot of work that goes into finding you the right home. Now, I'm not complaining. I love what I do. I just want to know that if I do all of this work for you, that I can be confident that I'm going to be your realtor, because unless I'm successful at finding you a home, I'm not going to get paid. So what this means is that even if we don't find the home that you're looking for today or tomorrow, or maybe even next week, if you happen to see a property that you think might be one that would fit your family's needs, even if it's another realtor's property, even if it has a for sale by owner sign on it, even if it's a home in a brand new home development or a home on the internet, what I want you to do is to call me, because I'm going to take care of everything. I'm going to do the research to make sure you're getting a great deal, and then I'm going to negotiate on your behalf. Are we good? And again, you shake your head up and down to get them to go along with what you're asking. By the way, this won't guarantee you'll never get one of those, "Oh, we're so sorry, but on the way home from church, you can't believe what we found," but it will greatly reduce the likelihood of that happening. Page number 12. I want you to know, as I told you already, I'm going to negotiate on your behalf to get you the best deal that I possibly can. And that's what you want, isn't it? Page 13. As we've already discussed, we want to remind them over and over and over again that we're going to be their single point of contact. As we've already discussed, I'm going to take care of everything for you. I'm going to make it simple. So even if you see something else that you like on your way home tonight, call me. I'll do the research, make sure it's a good deal, make arrangements for you to see it, and we'll get you in there and get you a good deal. Any questions? By the way, any questions is one of the great all-time closing questions. In real estate, we sometimes think closing is very difficult, but all it is getting a lot of little agreements. And when you ask any questions, and if they say they don't have any, then you know you're moving toward a successful purchase. Page 14 is our Weichert Pledge of Service. What we want to do is we want to tell them, unlike any other realtor you may have ever worked with in the past or you may have talked to recently, at Weichert, because we're big believers in doing what we say we're going to do and in keeping our word, not only am I going to tell you all the things that we're going to do for you, but I'm going to put that in writing. So here, let me just go ahead and sign this and give you a copy of this now. Page 15 is all about agency. Now, this is an important page for you to discuss with your broker so that he or she can tell you how that's handled in your state, because every state is different. There are local rules and regulations that you need to make sure that you're doing properly. So where you get the forms, what forms you need to get signed and things like that. Do you have a buyer agency agreement that you ask people to sign before you go out and look at properties? Your broker will be able to handle this question for you. Page 16, and now we're wrapping it all up. However, one thing that we need to make sure that we've done, because I tell every sales professional that works for Weichert, you never, ever, ever want to put a prospective buyer in your car to go look at properties until two things have happened. Until they've seen the buyer consultation presentation so that we can build that loyalty, prepare them to buy, shorten the process. But you also want to make sure that they've been pre-qualified or that they've gotten a pre-approval to buy. If you haven't done that already, this is the point where you want to introduce them to your goal services manager or your loan officer. And you might segue by saying, based on the things that I've learned today, I think there might be a couple of more properties that I should see if they're available for us to see. While I'm doing that, I want to introduce you to John Mortgage Lender, who's going to sit down with you and give you an update on what your buying power is in this market. You go get a couple more properties to see, you come back in, John's got your pre-qualification done, and you say, let's go look at houses. Our first appointment is in 20 minutes. To all the Weichert real estate professionals watching this, I just want to say good luck and good selling. I hope you reach all of your goals with Weichert Realtors.